So the other day I was reading my devotion from the In Touch daily readings from Pastor Charles Stanley. Since we've been in quarantine and I now have all this time, so been more consistent in reading the devotionals from him. And there was one the other day that really hit me pretty deep, and I felt called today to make a video and share it because I think a lot of people are going through this same issue just like I am. That devotional that day was called Searching for Unforgiveness. Immediately I thought, well, okay, honestly, based on the things that have been going on in my life, there's not really anybody that I'm harboring any grudges or any unforgiveness for anything for. Pastor Stanley actually includes a couple of questions on here, considering these following questions to see if you need to forgive somebody. And I went through the list, and I'm just going down. It's kind of like I really can't think of anybody. But that's one of those things whenever I read a devotional and I think that's not my issue. I don't have any issue with that. There's always a way that I find out that yes, that is an issue, but maybe in the way that you're not seeing it, or maybe not exactly in the way that it is for other people. I go into a little prayer and say, God, allow me to open my eyes and my ears and heart to any unforgiveness that I possibly could be harboring in myself. Right after I said those words, the thought came to my mind, have you forgiven yourself lately? I was just like, what? Have you forgiven yourself lately? Look at the questions. Okay. Do you talk negatively about this individual to others? Yeah. Remember the other day I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was just like, oh, I'm such a freaking idiot. I remember my mom just got so pissed at me because I said that. Now, of course, there's self-deprecating humor and stuff like that, but there definitely have been times that, I would talk really, really bad about myself with other people. Do you mull over what someone did to you? So mulling over the ways that I hurt myself in the past, all my stupid mistakes or things that maybe I should have taken seriously when I didn't. Yeah, especially I think with this extra time, I've been deeper in my inner thoughts. Of course, it's gonna bring up, mistakes that I made and things that I did in the past. I do sort of mull over those ways that I hurt myself, maybe a little too much. How do you feel if a good thing happens to that individual? I'm sort of one of those people that, I don't like to be praised. I absolutely sometimes hate, when good things happen to me. I guess because I've held on so much to those grudges of, how I've behaved in the past with things or how I've done myself wrong. When something good happens to me, I'm just kind of like, why me? Why do I deserve this? I can think of however many other people off the top of my head. They're so much better at this thing. They work so much harder than me. They've messed up way less than I have, and at least that's my perception, And yet I end up getting this good thing and they didn't. And for me, that's just very hard to grasp sometimes. Do you blame him or her for how your life turned out? Again, going, I think, connected to the mulling over thing, thinking about things that I did 2-3 years ago, and it's just kind of like, well, if he didn't do that, you would be in a better place today, wouldn't you? But I mean, it's to an extreme that you just kind of badger at yourself with the same sort of negative thoughts. It becomes a habit. Oh, because I did those things in the past, obviously I can't be trusted with such thing, so I can't handle any bigger responsibility in something. Therefore, I also can't take myself very seriously. Well, I can't handle these things. How can I possibly take on something even bigger when I've messed up on all these little things in the past? Are you frequently angered, depressed, or bitter? It's a little bit, yeah. Do you find it difficult or impossible to thank God for your offender? I mean, yeah, you did them wrong, but they're supposed to help you, be better next time, right? You're supposed to sort of take that, acknowledge it, but then realize what you did wrong and see, okay, next time when that happens, just don't do that, right? Simple-ish. I do find it quite difficult to, forgive myself because of that. Going through those questions, like, wow, like, I'm really harboring a lot of unforgiveness. And that's why I think I felt called to share this, was because realizing if I'm going through this, there's probably, I don't know how many other people also going through this same issue of unforgiveness, not necessarily unforgiveness of other people or situations, but unforgiveness of ourselves. Either we hold ourselves to a high standard, or maybe others. For me, it's just like I feel almost like God has something, like, planned for me, like this calling or purpose. It's like this responsibility, and how, part of like whatever God calls you to do, it's to help other people. It's that, not necessarily like to really help you or make you happy, but it's to, help with the goodness of everybody else, help with the goodness of the universe, which is kind of a big responsibility. While saying all the ways that I messed up in the past, how can I possibly handle something that big without messing up? Going through this, it's like deep down, I'm actually a very perfectionistic person. Realizing that actually messing up is actually a big fear of mine. Messing up to a point that it shows to other people, oh, she's worthless, she's incapable, is a really big fear of mine. Lately, I've been feeling that I'm in this sort of plateau moment in my life. And not even because of the pandemic and being in quarantine. There's that, but there's also just feeling like I'm supposed to be somewhere else. Like, I need to be in this, like, next level. How come I'm not taking off yet? I think it's because I've been still carrying all this weight, all this burden of unforgiveness on my own self. I kind of always knew that I've been hard on myself, and of course, everybody says like you're your own worst critic and all that. For me, this is, I think, even bigger of an issue than I ever thought that it was. And not wanting to basically let go of it, I think, because like if I forget about this, then it's that fear that I'm just gonna go back, when really, if you actually are analyzing the situation and realizing, you know what, I do forgive myself, I'm going to try to not repeat that again. So it's acknowledging it, but knowing that you're moving on, that was just in the past and you're a new person that learned. Christ had to go through being nailed on the cross and going through a very slow and very painful death, and yet still managed to forgive the people that did that to him. For me, when it comes to like forgiving others and helping others, it's just kind of like, Jesus had to go through all of that. It's like, who am I to like not do that for other people? Well, also, you are one of those people. You should probably also be forgiving and helping yourself as well. Ultimately, I am God's vessel. We are all vessels of God that he put in here to do his will, so the universe can still be in harmony, so the universe can still be good and in homeostasis. I'm a science major. God has like long forgiven you. He's long forgiven me, like yesteryear. And then I can't forgive myself. Like, there's something completely wrong with that picture. Like, the guy that's, higher than me, who created all of this and created me and created this perfect plan, this next thing that's kind of like, even though I went through this, he still got something great for me. And I can't forgive myself. I can't let go of this. Like, he wants to wash me clean and put me in these new clean clothes that are shining bright that he has for me, and yet I want to still be in these tattered earthly things. How stupid am I? But then see, I'm getting into that thing again of calling me stupid. With God, with God's forgiveness and God's mercy, I can move past that. That despite those things, I can work through and allow him to, you know, make me better and make me into the vessel that he needs me to be. It's a difficult process. I mean, as you just saw me like a minute ago, that's something that I am still having to deal with. I'm in Georgia. It's like really hot right now. But that whole process, it's not going to go away on its own. It's probably going to be something that, obviously, that's something that I've been dealing in the past, something that I'm dealing with right now, and will probably still be something in the future that's going to be an issue for me. But that doesn't mean that, you know, I can't start improving on that. To those of you that are dealing with maybe the same sort of like issue with unforgiveness of yourself like I am, that, you know what, it's okay to forgive yourself, which may be hard, that may be hard to take in, that it's okay that whatever big mistakes that you made, whatever faults that you have, whatever bad characteristics that you may hold, like bad traits, you know, it's okay. You know, we weren't meant to be perfect. You can forgive yourself. And you can get better. Like, just because that was how you were in the past does not mean that has to be how you are today or in the future. And the fact that if you're, you know, watching this and hearing this and beginning to acknowledge that, you are already better than you were like a couple minutes ago, way better than you were yesterday. Like, let me know down in the comments if that's something that you're also going through, maybe ways that you are finding that are helping you to forgive yourself, helping you to go through this process of allowing yourself to be forgiven and allowing yourself to, you know, grow out of those burdens and grudges that you've been holding against yourself. That's all I have. Hope you guys are doing okay with this whole quarantine pandemic thing.